Looking to improve your life, brush up on your personal growth techniques? You are in the right place. Welcome to Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap.
Hello, this is Kevin Dunlap with Life's Little Lessons, and welcome to today's show. Today I have a guest that I've known for about 2 or 3 months now. It's an absolutely amazing woman that I met here in Las Vegas. She's a health coach, and she has her company called Sexy Healthy Guru. So I'd like to welcome to the show today a Melanie Gerath. Welcome, Melanie. I love having you on our show today.
Kevin, thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad for you to be here as well. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do, and why is it that you do it?
Well, I really love health coaching because it's really my lifestyle. It's my passion. It's the way I live. And so if I can help other people live that way, and I call it getting unstuck, because sometimes people are stuck in like their business, or they don't know how to move forward, or different areas of their life and their health. So many people want to improve their health, but they don't know how. And so the reason why this is a great business is because you need a coach, like a football team. They have a coach. They know how to play football. When you go to school, we have teachers. Everybody can read a book, take a test, but without the teacher being there, being a coach, really, I find I help so many people, and it's over those little things. It's habit change that I get to help them with that makes a big difference in their life.
Okay. So as an example, what are some habits that you're seeing that people usually have to overcome, especially in the health arena?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of people who are overweight. Obesity has taken over America. It's weight issues, and then it's health-related weight issues like diabetes, heart disease, cancer. And so when I work with people with weight issues, and then they become healthier, and then it actually works in the rest of their life. And so where their relationships are affected, their finances are affected, their spirituality, their family, everything. And then also, I'm working a lot with people with business coaching. So that's a lot of fun. It's like they're birthing their business baby or transforming it.
Okay. And so would you say, like with going back to the health part, is that when they start getting themselves into a better physical state, that their confidence increases? That's probably why all the other areas of relationships, their businesses and other stuff are also affected? Was that be one of the main reasons, or would be other reasons?
Well, there's a saying that how you do anything is how you do everything.
Okay.
And so when you clear up and balance one aspect of the life, the other pillars of your life fall into place.
Okay. So how long have you been doing this for?
Well, I started coaching about 6 months ago. But
6 months?
previously, I was doing stuff with yoga, personal training, and working with the nutrition side of it. But then I was like, how do I tie all this together? So I took a coaching program, and now I focus to correlate everything together and coach.
Okay. So I see that you have a strong passion for this. Now, could you tell me a little bit about your childhood? Because I know we were talking before the show that you and your mom did things. There's probably a little bit different than what most people go through. Would you share with the audience about that?
Sure. Well, so I started off like very naturally. I was actually born at home. My father decided that he wanted to deliver me. He was a chiropractor. He was actually really nervous, and so my uncle was the first person who touched me. It was really amazing. My mom was like, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? But back in the day, everybody was born at home. We didn't have these big, huge hospitals. So because of that, there was no anesthesia, no meds, no drugs at all. So I was born completely natural. Then, I don't know why, but my parents, my father was a chiropractor, and he had the health and nutrition side of it as well. So when I was little, I didn't get medication or any cough medicine. My mom gave me garlic and honey on a spoon. She made green drink. She would go out into the yard and get dandelion greens and just whiz them up in the blender and then put pineapple juice with it so that us kids would drink it. And I remember it tasting good. I didn't think like, ooh, this tastes terrible. So that was just the way I was raised. It was just a lot of fun, I was a vegetarian as well. I was actually different. So like in school, my lunch looked a little bit different than everybody else's. But, I embrace it. And I'm so glad that that's the way I was raised, because I was raised different from the beginning. And it's just kind of really helped me along this journey and not to ever feel like, oh, wow, you're so different. It was just the way I was raised and the way I've always been my whole life.
What you've been going through has been a lifestyle for the number of years that you've been on this planet, and now you're sharing that lifestyle with other people. Because you were saying that you grew up vegetarian, you grew up not using any pharmaceuticals, you grew up with all, living more of the natural lifestyle. While a lot of us, like say even myself, we grew up on McDonald's or fast food, and we grew up on not healthy lifestyles. So your whole thing is teaching people. And I remember a conversation that we've had before is you're not necessarily telling people they need to become vegetarian, but you still show them that this is where you need to get protein. This is where you need to get other nutrients into your cycle, regardless if you're vegan, vegetarian, or even if you're an omnivore, if you were a meat eater as well. Is that correct?
Most definitely. Life is all about a balance. And sometimes I think we beat ourselves up. Diets are deprivation. It's what you can't have. Exercise sometimes is hardcore that, you're so sore you can't even sit down. And then you're like, well, I'm not doing that again because it's not fun. And so that makes it's not sustainable. And so my whole thing is to teach people this is a lifestyle. And you can really accomplish so much more that way. The reason why it is such a passion for me is because I was in entertainment and I was always in the look of business, I call it. I was a flight attendant. You had to be a certain weight, in balance. And then I worked for conventions. I did a lot of promotions, a lot of marketing. But I had to use my physical self as my marketing tool. So people, my personality and my vivaciousness. And so by keeping this lifestyle, I always was able to do all that. And then you ask yourself at some point, when you want to make a transition in your life, like, what am I really good at? What do I really love? What is my passion? What do I do on a regular basis? And that's when I realized, oh, okay, well, I love all these things. I love staying fit. I love eating healthy. And so the next step to me was like a no-brainer. Let me teach this. So I became a coach. But there's something beautiful about everybody. And this beautiful thing, I think, is when your spirit comes out and when you're happy and when you feel good about yourself. And when you're healthy, you're healthiest, then you do have that beauty about you and that just positive energy comes out. So I really believe that really it just goes into every area of your life when you're healthy. And that's in your mind as well, having healthy thoughts and positive thoughts.
Okay. And tell me about this show is actually geared toward entrepreneurs. Could you tell me a little bit about some of the early successes that you've had as an entrepreneur, either as in the entertainment field or even with the coaching, the yoga, and other stuff? Could you tell me when you were first getting started, some early successes that you had?
Well, I've always worked for myself. Other than, I think I was until I was 26 years old, I worked for other people. Then I always was working for an agency or, getting jobs on my own. And so you have to be in control and charge of your life and showing up. And I really think you have to have like a strong mind too, because you're doing things differently. And like, if I don't go to work, my bills don't get paid. And there's nobody else responsible for me except me. Being an entrepreneur, it's great because you do have to have the discipline to have your own business and all the things that go along with it. It's also, you have to know what's working, what's not working, and then also being accountable. And the great thing though is you can earn more money. You don't have a ceiling on how much money you can earn and the people that you can help and the situations that you can get yourself into. So there's, depending on how hard you're willing to work or to make happen, the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, and that is one thing I have to learn from other entrepreneurs as well, is when you're working for a job, you're working for a salary. A lot of the wage earners are happy because they get a 2-week paid vacation or they get sick days or stuff like that. However, unless they're on a commission-based schedule, they've hit a ceiling. For an example, if you take out a job that works 40 hours a week and pay you $70,000 a year, you're not going to make $72,000 that year unless you're getting a bonus of some sort. However, as an entrepreneur, you may say, okay, this is what I need to do in order to make $10,000 this month, and then you could scale it up or scale it down depending on what you want to do. And yes, the sky's the limit as far as what you can make. That is absolutely correct, and I'm so glad that you said that. You're actually the first person that I've interviewed so far that's actually talked about it from that perspective. So thank you for sharing that with us, Melanie. And could you tell me a little bit about, say, some of your early challenges when you were getting started? So the challenges that you've either learned something from, or challenges that you were actually may have been a temporary setback at that time. Because the listener will be coming across challenges themselves. So it is okay to have things that come up every once in a while.
I think there's always a fear when you do something new, and whatever business that is. I don't know. I just never had a fear with all the entertainment. I followed my heart, all those points. And it was always just fun. And doing promotions, I worked with a lot of conventions. So I worked with all these different companies and I would promote them. And so I think when you're promoting someone else's product, for me, it was always a lot of fun. And being a flight attendant, I just love the social aspect of it and going places and doing things. But then coaching, it was more of a challenge because I was like, okay, it comes down to my skills and my abilities and what I'm teaching. And for some reason, that has been a learning curve with that. And then also doing things on the computer. So just coaching someone, it's great. But then also the modalities of, doing it on the computer, marketing yourself with social media, doing all these different business things of it. But what I realized is that if you do it one step at a time, and it's also finding your niche, because when you're creating a business from scratch, it's definitely, there's a process of building it. That's when I think you really have to be careful to take a look at it and say, what's working, what's not working. And then to what am I passionate about and what am I not? And tweaking the business as you go along. Because a lot of times with a business, it's like, I'm going to go back to that. It's like birthing that baby. It grows. Even with my niche with coaching, I'm still finding out what that is. And so it's fun and exciting, but it's also scary. So it's embracing both of those. It's almost like the flip side of a coin. There's heads and tails. So there's the fun and adventure, and then there's also the scary of the unknown of I'm doing all these things that I haven't done before. So it's following your heart. It is actually taking the action steps, that 1% improvement every day, and then remembering, having faith in your business and in you, and that faith without works is dead. So we have to take that action with the combination of faith to keep moving forward and follow your heart.
No, that's well said. Thank you very much for sharing that. And tell me, I guess, so you've been doing the coaching for 6 months, and you've been doing a lot of other stuff before that with the flight attendant, the promotions, the yoga, and all that other stuff that you had already mentioned. Why did you get into the health coaching itself? I mean, I know you're talking about the obesity of America. I know you're talking about that, but why is that so passionate for you?
It's just everything that I've lived and everything that I've done. So then I go back to, again, why reinvent the wheel? This is what I'm good at. This is what I know. This is the way I live. And then actually becoming a coach, I even learned some more stuff. It all comes down to habit change. Habit change changes our life. And the small little changes that we make big changes. Like small hinges swing big doors. And I think everybody at some point feels stuck in their life. And we want some change. And so, that was great, being social and doing all that stuff and working on all those promotions. But I was working with other companies. I really wanted to form my own company and have control. And it's also for people that when they feel stuck, that's the real underlying passion that I have. So it doesn't matter what area of your life you feel stuck, whether it be with your relationships, whether it be with your career or your job, if it comes with your health. Health is one avenue, but most of the time when we're stuck in other areas of our life, our health suffers. Mm-hmm. And that's like a great beginning point to address with someone to deal with all the other things in their life.
Okay, and that is well said, because if you're starting a business, you could be undergoing a lot of stress, or you could be putting in 10, 12-hour days and you're not working out, you're not necessarily eating properly, just because of the presumed idea that it may take more time to eat more healthy. Is my opinion, because I probably need to hire my own health coach myself, in all honesty. I guess other things that I always like to cover on this show are challenges, your current or previous challenges that you've learned something from. And I know you're just getting started with the business coaching. However, a lot of people, or a lot of entrepreneurs, especially ones that are still wage earners, are very much afraid as far as actually not only the fears, they want to know that, hey, if I hit a challenge or hit a roadblock, that there is still light at the end of the tunnel. Could you share with me one of your recent challenges that you've had, that you've overcame, that you actually could have stopped other people, but you persevered and pushed forward?
Well, there's always challenges, and there's always challenges when you're doing something that you haven't done before. And also, what you were saying is we might have one job that makes us money, and then when you're going into a business, there's usually an education. So there is a fee that you're going to pay for that education or a certification or to find out how to do business. So you're investing money into it. Then you're investing time into it. When we do all that, sometimes we're like, oh my goodness, well, where's my fun time? Because we're doing a business that pays us, working in a business, building a business. And then also people have, lives. They have families, they have kids, they might have and just everyone only has so much time and energy in a day.
Okay.
So yes, and then it's really easy to sit there and say, oh my goodness, is this really worth it? Can I do this? Can I really accomplish this? And do I really even want to do this? And so we can lose sight of our dream very quickly and very easily. And for me, it was the technology part of it. It was, I had a printer that wouldn't work. And that's like a small roadblock, but man, I just wanted to say, I give up. I can't do this. And so over a printer. But everybody has that printer in their life. It's a little obstacle that seems so big and so overwhelming. But if we just keep moving forward, and I think it's if we focus on what is this business that I'm working on? Why is it so important to me? How big is your why? And for me, it was like, there's so many people that need help with their health and their wellness. And so all the technology challenges that I've come into, Facebook, Instagram, logging everything in. And when you do that as a business, it's different also as doing it as a personal thing. Just simple social media. Hey, everybody, this is what I'm doing. But when you use these as business tools, there's definitely a learning curve. Building out your website, getting your message out there on all these different avenues. When you've never done that before, and if technology has been your big challenge, man, you just want to quit sometimes and say, I can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. And you get frustrated, but keep moving forward.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, and definitely keep moving forward. And I'm going to say technology is often the big issue with a lot of people. Even myself, I mean, over 40 years old myself right now, and learning things like all the social media things out there. Those are just not my areas of expertise. And yes, there is that learning curve. However, you cannot let those things be your stopping point. I know, for an example, for yourself, at the time of the recording of this video, you wanted to get a better website. So instead of doing it yourself, you're now hiring other people to do it. And that could be something that anybody that's out there that's listening is, if you've got challenges with something, I don't care if it's a website, your social media platforms, or whatever, if that is not something that you want to do, go ahead and hire somebody to go and do that for you. Because if you're going to let something like that stop you, then in my opinion, you're stealing from the rest of the world. If you've got a message you need to get out there, you need to get it out there. You have a great thing that you want to help people with their health. But if you're going to let your website stop you, how many people's lives did you not change because you didn't get out there? So those of you that are listening, if you have a passion for something, don't let things like technology or things that you don't know how to do stop you from doing that. Find somebody else. You can go to websites like Fiverr.com. You can go to different meetup functions and find other people in the areas that you need help with and get help in those areas. You could even do this as a barter system if you need to. If this is your early stages of building a business, Melanie said, hey, I'll give you some free life coaching or health coaching lessons for the next 3 months. And you give me website design. You give me whatever. And you guys just barter off of each other. I mean, there's so many creative ways that you can do this where even finances should not even be an issue to stop you. Would you agree with that, Melanie?
Yes, for sure. And definitely, some people have learned and taught themselves how to build their own WordPress site. Some people are more savvy with the computer or doing their social media. For me personally, I was like, I weighed out the options and I'm like, okay, so let me pay the person to do my website, just because for me to learn that and how long it would take to learn and have it to look professional, and this is the first time I'm doing it, would not be the best choice for me personally. And then also, I will say this is another challenge, is finding the right professionals to work on your projects. And sometimes you'll meet someone and, it's just like you go to a doctor. Usually you go and get 2 or 3 opinions when you have something major that has to be done. Just like with that, I would suggest with professionals, website builders, people who do social media. And sometimes people will give you these astronomical numbers of the prices that they'll charge for you, like you're this like multi-million-dollar company that's already up and running. And it's just not the case. So starting up business, really have to do your research even with the professionals. And then sometimes you think you have the right professional and you've paid them, and then it's not the right situation, or they might have taught you something or done a little bit of something for you. But just be open to finding other people. And then when one professional doesn't work out, or if you get one quote to do some part of your business that is way too high, or it's not going to be workable or doable, keep moving forward. Don't let those little roadblocks stop you, because again, it's a process. And sometimes it's starting off with, of course, your first video that you do, or your first podcast. It might be like, oh my goodness, I did it in my kitchen, or it was top-notch professional, but at least you got started. And that's the real key, I think, entrepreneurs face. They want it to be perfect, but there's always a starting point and there's a building point.
And I'm so glad you said that, because that's actually a point I was also wanted to make as well, is don't let, because your beautiful website isn't exactly the way you want it, don't let that stop you. You could always just build upon that next year, 6 months from now, whatever. Like when I started shooting video for houses that I used to do back when I was doing real estate, the very first video I shot, oddly enough, was in October 2009, which was a little over 8 years ago. And that video was horrible, absolutely horrible. Back then I was still 240, 250 pounds. I was still very much out of shape. I was not wearing the best shirt. I was shooting a video using one of those flip camcorders, and I actually used that for like 4 or 5 years. I was using one of those camcorders. I was walking through a very nice house. 2 dogs were in there in the house in cages, barking against the tile floor, so it was echoing throughout the house. A woman was watching TV at the time. That was kind of loud as well. And here I am taking a natural tour of the house. Do you think that video is still on YouTube?
No.
Absolutely, it's on YouTube.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Because the thing is, I use that as an example, because every once in a while when I say, I'm afraid to start to do something, go back and look at my very first time doing something. Like, okay, it didn't look good at first, and I'm okay with that. But the thing was, I got started. And that's the most important thing, is getting started, regardless of how professional it looks or not, or doesn't look. You can always improve upon it later, because when you take that first step, it can't be looking all that good. You're taking on your first client, you will make mistakes. I even tell people that are starting out and they're creating things, or they say they're door-to-door knocking, or whatever it is that they're doing. I'll say if it helps you, deliberately mess it up. Go in there and screw it up deliberately. Now you got it out of the way. You can just do it better the next time around. Because if you're afraid it's going to be perfect every time, that could be such a hindrance from doing anything from here on forward. I mean, Melanie, let me even ask you this, and I'm doing this without even possibly knowing the answer. Taking on that very first coaching client, were you nervous about that?
Oh, most definitely. But the great thing is I was making a suggestion. I did 2 practice clients, and I used my 2 relatives, and it was great because I really helped them with a situation, and then I got some great practice, and I got my confidence. Take as many practice clients as you want. Or I always keep showing up. There's that great movie with Jim Carrey. Yes. And so
yes, ma'am.
yes to everything. So even like with my discovery session, it's about a 30-minute process, and we, see if anyone even wants to coach with me. And so it's a great, to find out what they really want and what's stopping them. And then are we fit to work together? I do tons of those. And every time I see someone and they have a problem, or they're frustrated with their life, or something's going on, I say, hey, do you want to do discovery session? And that's how you build your confidence. That's how you build your business. And some people I work with, some people I don't. But always get out there, put yourself out there. And that's where the magic happens. Because even when you go on a practice client, you learn stuff, or they might refer you to somebody else that really has a situation going on. And guess what? That's a testimonial. Everything that you do towards your business, to whatever level it is, it's building your business.
I'm so glad you said that because first off, having those first clients, I'm assuming for free, that are your test clients. Yes, and then they will give you your testimonials. And say you're like Melanie here and you are actually a coach, just because you have a discovery session doesn't mean you have to work with that person. You can still pick and choose who you work with. If you're not coming from a level of desperation, and they could know that even if you were, if you're coming back and say, hey, this is what I'm offering, and then you discover, as you just said, can we work together? Because you're not going to take on every single person that calls you.
No, and that's why I think it's great to have different aspects of your business. So what I'm working on putting together is a private membership. Then people could just sign up for that, and it's a much lower cost. And then I have my YouTube videos, and then I'm working on putting together a whole program that people can download or have like on DVD. So there's all different ways that you can help people. It's not one thing. And then also, of course, I want it to be a good fit. And sometimes people are just not ready at that time in their life. But 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road, or even a year later, they might be like, oh, hey, I'm ready to do this. And so no can be not now. And
Exactly.
There's all different ways that you can work with people. Maybe it's a food book. I'm creating a food book because so many people sit there and go, well, what do I eat? And how do I do this? And you can do coaching on a different level other than I do one-on-one, I do group coaching. Then also to do programs. And I think, Kev, you are in this position, you have a book, you have programs. And so there's all different ways. And sometimes people have more money to invest. Some people want to be in a group. Some people need that one-on-one coaching.
And it's also about the perceived value. There's another friend of mine. She's I believe she still is a minister, and she's also a life coach as well, and which doesn't really matter. However, I had a conversation with her just a few weeks ago, and she was about to take on a new client, and she quoted him the prices of her coaching, and he said it was too expensive. He wasn't willing to do that. The following day, she talked to another person, and she actually raised her prices for that person, and that person said, "You're too cheap." She says, "How can I get any value out of you because you're just too cheap?" So it's also about the value that other people would put onto you. So whenever you're coming up with your pricings for your coaching programs, test the market out there. I mean, if you say, well, I think it's worth 5,000, but I'm only going to sell it for 200, there's quite a few people that may not invest in you because what value can I get out of a $200 program? You definitely want to keep in mind when you're building your platforms is also that cost, as well as who is that ideal client that you want to work with. If your prices are too low, then you may be attracted to the wrong kind of customer or wrong kind of clients anyway.
The bottom line is people have to pay for my services because they have to put some skin in the game. And if something's free, then they don't do it.
No, they have no value.
And there's no value in it. Then think about it. Like, why would I have to make a living as well? And I'm providing a service, and to be honest with you, this has been a lifelong process. So all the trainings that I have, all the information that I have, everything that I've gathered and put together, it's a profession. So just like when you go to a doctor, you don't get free services from a doctor, you pay for the services. And if you could do it by yourself, well then, yeah, you can, it's free for you. But if you can't do it by yourself, then you hire a professional. And so yes, you have to pay for that professional service.
Kind of reminds me of a story. There's a Navy ship that was supposed to be going underway, and for some reason it wasn't working. So they hired this electrician to come in and check out the engines. The electrician came in. He looked around for a moment, looked to the right, looked to the left, walked around the space a little bit, turned a screw on there, turned on the engine, and the engine turned on. He said, "Okay, what's the bill for that?" He goes, "Oh, the bill for that is $10,000." Or the captain said, $10,000 is you just turned one cog. And the guy says, "Okay, let me itemize this. $1 for turning the cog, $9,999 knowing which cog to turn." It's the information that you're providing that's ideal. It's not like, okay, I can get this out of a book or off of YouTube video. But no, it's what is that precise information that you can give as a coach? This is for people that want to go into the coaching business, that you can provide for that person. That is where your value comes from. Have value in yourself to be willing to ask for the fees that you feel that you are worth.
And it's something that someone couldn't do on their own. I have a step-by-step system, and then also have accountability. When you have accountability, that's 1/3 of the formula. And then it's what is it that you really want? And then how do we tie all that together? So that's what the coaching is. And like, even there's tons of recipe books out there. There's tons of workout programs, and they're all free. Tons of them. There's all kinds of business coaching, tools for business. But how do you figure it out? And if you're stuck, you need someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because a coach or someone who teaches you something, they're outside of you. So they can see what needs to be done, and they can hold you accountable and give you the system.
And that is actually true. I would say for anybody that's starting a business, regardless, or making a change in their life, in my opinion, you should have a coach. Not only an accountability partner, which could be the same person as the coach, or a coach and an accountability partner that is separate. But if you're going to be doing something that you are not familiar with, like I wanted to make changes in my diet, I would hire Melanie as my health coach. If I wanted to go to the gym and get in better shape, I would hire a personal trainer, which is just another version of the word coach. If I wanted to go out and learn how to play golf, I'm not going to learn by playing it by myself. I'm going to have to hire a golf coach. Now, whenever you're going to be trying to do something new, in my opinion, you should have a coach to help you get started on the way. I mean, look at any professional out there. They all have coaches. Even say Donald Trump, when he was running his business, or as now as president of the United States, he still has advisors or coaches on his team. Everybody that's going somewhere in their life, in my opinion, should have some type of coach with them, because that coach is going to get you quicker from point A to point B. Can you get from A to B on your own? Yes, you probably can. However, it's going to probably take you 2, 3, 5, 10 times as long, and you may actually quit before you ever even get to the end. So hiring a coach in that specialized industry that you're going to be in, I think, is probably one of the most important things that you can do.
Well, anytime I do something new, like I went skiing, so I took a ski lesson.
Yeah.
I went surfing, so I took a surfing lesson. And because I don't know how to do all that stuff, so an instructor.
But you can watch YouTube videos on it, but.
Well, no, I don't think so. That wouldn't work, So I guess, but I definitely hire the instructors. So instructors, coaches, teachers, they're all really great. And I mean, that's why I really love coaching, because I really help people. And somehow it's the questions that I ask these clients, and then they come up with the answers. And then it's like the light bulb goes on in their mind. So it's not that I'm telling them a bunch of stuff, because there's information everywhere, but it's the right questions to ask in the right order. And so I see amazing progress with people because it's the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the realization, they put it together, and then they're excited about doing it.
And I'm glad you said what you said the way you said it. I was speaking with somebody a few weeks ago, and they were saying, what is the difference between a coach and a consultant? And according to her, and she was saying, a consultant tells you what to do. A coach guides you so you could come up with your own solutions. And
right, I don't have the answers to everything. And like training, and I think that's like an instructor, like when you go for a skiing lesson,
mm-hmm.
They tell you how to do it, and then they watch to see how you do it. And then, like give you little tweaking things like, oh, okay, turn your skis. Oh, and to improve. And exactly, the training is like teaching you a specific thing. A coach, I think, more is to be a person that's outside of you, and I have a system. And it really comes down to, I'm asking you the right questions in the right order, and I give you the accountability and a process so that you come up with your answers. Here's a for instance. Instead of me giving you a diet plan, we come up with the high energy foods that work for you. By that, because it's the specific, it's customized, because we have to figure out what macronutrients work best for your body type. And so instead of doing like a one size fits all, or there's 10 million books out there, we customize it to the person. And that's what a coach does. They can see, okay, what's working, what's not working. Okay, let's do this, let's do that. And it's amazing, because we really ask the body to show up and say, hey, this is what works for me with these guidelines. That's where the magic happens. And it happens within our mind too.
Okay, we're running low on time right now. So, Melanie, tell us, what is one lesson that you've learned, or one upbeat moment that you've learned as being a coach or being self-employed, that you would like to share with somebody else that's thinking about becoming either a coach or becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, it's discipline and consistency. And a lot of times I think as a entrepreneur, sometimes it's projects, and we have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that's the one thing that I love about being an entrepreneur is having projects. But then also when you have to go find new projects, or even when you're in the project and you're wondering like, oh my goodness, is this working, not working? It's that consistency and the persistency and really focusing on what is your big picture. You need to know what that is, because without that, it's really easy to give up. And to have those, you have to surround yourself with people who believe in you and who are there for you, because no one can do this all alone. It's a we together. And that's really important. I would never be where I am at today without having amazing people in my life. And then also I believe in a higher power, the spiritual side of my life. I don't care what you call this entity outside of yourself. Some choose to call it God. Some call it spirit. Some call it, nature, or, there's all kind of different religions out there, Allah or Yahweh. And so asking for that spiritual guidance, I think, is really important.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing with that. And Melanie, if you would like to share how people can find you online, or from either your website or your Facebook or social media or email, telephone number, how would you like somebody to find you online? Somebody that's listening to this show that may be wanting to hire you as a health coach.
So that would be Sexy Healthy Guru, and that goes through my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everything. So it would be sexyhealthyguru.com, and then also my email would be sexyhealthyguru@gmail.com.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us with that. And is there any last minute things that you'd like to say before we say goodbye to everybody?
I'm so glad that you brought me on the show, Kev. And I love it how your show is called Life's Little Lessons. And so if we just remember, there's always a lesson. And so many people look back at their life, they have regret, or I shoulda, coulda, woulda, there's something that really changed my life is there's no accidents in God's world. Everything, take it like one from this. And so it's always looking at our lives with curiosity rather than judgment. Move forward, best person. Because throughout all my coaching, what I found, everybody wants to live their best life, a life of purpose, a life of meaning. What am I really here for? And so whatever that is, don't be afraid to live your passion. Ask yourself, what are you good at? What do you spend your time doing, like in your free time? And then make that into a business, because the world needs you. You have a unique combination of things that come together to make a unique business and to do a unique thing. Different from anybody else, because you're one piece of this puzzle in this entire world that can do something. And so letting go of the fear and just asking the universe for help, for lack of a better word, that's what I say, and just moving forward one step at a time.
Well, thank you, Melanie, for sharing that great piece of information there. And I do want to say thank you for being on our show. And there's a saying that Zig Ziglar said, and I will be ending all of my shows on this. This is a saying that I absolutely adore. And it says, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. Thank you, Melanie. I want to say it was a pleasure having you on the show. You gave us so much great information. I think the listeners are going to have so much to digest over the show. They'll probably be having to listen to this 2 or 3 times because you just gave so much great information. So I want to say thank you for that. Till next time, everybody, this is Kevin Dunlap with Life's Little Lessons. We have Melanie Gerath as well here. Sexyhealthyguru.com is her website. Go check it out. And thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Kev. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody have a good day. Bye-bye now.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit plentifulperspectives.com, facebook.com/KevinADunlap.author, and on Twitter @Kevin A. Dunlap. We'll catch you on the next episode of Life's Little Lessons.